Hey friends, welcome to This Prepared Life. I'm Allison, and today we are going to do part 2 of budget prep tips. I don't know anyone who is not aware of the current dumpster fire that is the economy, that is inflation, and that is the cost of living, the cost of buying groceries. We are not fine. So I asked over on Instagram for everyone to share their budget tips, and this is part 2. If you missed part 1, you can check it out here. Let's jump in. Tip number 57. For the homesteaders, don't get the animal just because you can. Be very intentional about adding livestock or any animal to your farm or family. Yes, we have made so many mistakes here on our homestead or past homestead living in Washington, where we either added animals when we weren't quite ready for them, which is costly, or we weren't quite sure what we wanted and added something and then ended up needing or wanting something different. So be really intentional about that. If you have extra water, put it in your freezer. Yes, freezing water is a great way to have extra water on hand if you have freezer space. You can also water bath can water. I like to buy 5 or more extra canned foods every time I go to the store. I choose what I spend. This is another person talking about Hoopy Homestead and her 5 can challenge, which is a hashtag over on Instagram. Spend all of your budget every time. 100 grocery budget, but you only need $80 worth of stuff. Spend the remaining $20 and add it to your stockpile. You are going to have to excuse the party the 2 parakeets and the conure are having in Kid 4's bedroom today. It's daylight and I don't know what they're doing, and I'm not even sure if you can hear them, but they're really loud in there talking to each other. So what was that one? Spend all of your budget every time. $100 grocery budget, but you only need $80 worth of stuff. Spend the remaining $20 and add it to your stockpile. Absolutely. And follow the seasonal sales. If you know what is on sale in given months or seasons, then you can make that extra $20 spread even further. I budget $200 every couple of weeks for buying for storage. Don't waste food, especially meat. Tossing leftovers, even if it's to the chickens, means you're eating a new meal next time that costs. Example, I made a brisket on Saturday. We ate it for dinner again Monday night. Tuesday night, there was only a little left, so I cut it up and made soup. Not one scrap of meat was wasted. This is excellent. Probably 10, 12, 13 years ago, someone I think gave us a bunch of salmon that they had caught, and I was determined to use every single bit of that animal or that fish. So for the first time, Joe filleted, we had all the meat in the freezer, but then I used the head and all the pieces that we typically throw away, and I made fish stock. And it was just a really great learning experience to use every single bit of that animal and let nothing go to waste. Tip number 61, a lot of vegetable scraps can be dehydrated, ground, and used as seasonings. Save glass spice jars and refill or reuse and relabel. I dry my own or buy in bulk. This is a definite money saver if my spice cupboard is full of mismatched jars, and if you don't care if everything looks exactly the same, it's a great way to save money. You shouldn't use these jars for canning or anything like that, but they're great for dry storage. I keep all of my veggie scraps in a baggie in the freezer for later use in making broths and stock. Not any rotten parts, just the skins and ends, especially onion, garlic, carrots, and celery. I do the same thing. I just keep a freezer bag in there, and when it's full, I get a new one and just keep filling it up. You can put so many different things in there that add so much flavor and nutrients to your homemade broth and stock. Here's another person talking about saving their veggie scraps. She also freezes leftover coffee in ice cube trays. Then I can put a cube in to cool off a cup or freeze dry the cubes to have instant coffee. I save tin foil, wash and reuse. If it's torn up, I use it to sharpen my scissors. Did you know that? That if you take scissors and cut tin foil, it'll sharpen them. I use cloth napkins and cloth diapers. I haven't bought paper products in 30 years. That is amazing. We do use cloth napkins, but I do keep paper towels on hand as well. With all the talk about lab-grown meat, I've only been buying meat on the bone. It's a win-win though. I take the meat off the bone and vacuum seal it and freeze it. Then I put the bones in a bag and freeze them. When the bag is full, I make bone broth out of them. We save, like if we cook a whole chicken, that carcass goes into a bag. And when I have a massively large stock pot that I use when I make broth or stock. And I put all the carcasses in the stock pot. So when I get enough bags saved up, I will make a big batch and then pressure can that. And if you don't pressure can or you don't have freezer space for many bags of carcasses, do it one at a time. And if you have cooked the chicken or whatever in a crock pot, you can make the broth right in your crock pot. I make blankets, rugs, shopping bags with scrap yarn, old t-shirts, bed sheets, etc. that I find free at yard sales. I generally give the stuff away I make to someone who needs it. That is a really great idea to reuse and repurpose items that might have been trashed. Save bacon fat to use for cooking eggs, making tamales, soap, or anything else that needs a fat. That is a great idea. I save all the crusts, ends of sandwich bread in the freezer, then turn it into breadcrumbs. My daughter can't have gluten, and gluten-free breadcrumbs are expensive. So gluten-free tip for everybody. I know gluten-free bread is expensive, but that is a great tip to save your crusts to make breadcrumbs. Never store an empty bottle. You can fill your empty canning jars with water. You can use that water the next time you are canning or an emergency. Yes, water bath canning water. Actually, the water will last indefinitely. I believe the processing time is 10 minutes, but don't hold me to that. You're going to need to go look it up. And the only downside to glass jars is they are breakable. So don't have that be the only layer of your water storage. Make sure that you have different layers in your water storage so that all your eggs aren't in one basket. I've discovered that mayo and peanut butter jar lids fit most wide mouth canning jars, which is great if you're storing something acidic. Now I keep them all and store in a Ziploc. Save all jars with metal lids. We've had a couple people talking about saving jars. It also kind of makes me think of my grandma because she was a jar saver. And so many jars. Like I got all her canning jars, but there must have been boxes and boxes of jars that we recycled when she passed away. After I eat all the pickled jalapenos, I keep the pickling liquid in the jar. It's usually about half full, and add fresh cut to fit in the jar carrot sticks. They get that mildly spicy pickling pretty quickly just sitting in the fridge. Awesome on lettuce wraps, salads, and sandwiches. This is a great way to reuse that canning jar liquid. You can make refrigerator pickles and ferment carrots, all different things you can do that are just absolutely delicious. I have been lately using the liquid from jalapenos to make jalapeno cheddar bread, jalapeno cheddar sourdough bread, and it is so good. I'm still experimenting on how much liquid to add to give it enough spice, but I'm going to get there. I try and store all my pantry canned goods by the expiration year in sections, so I don't have to go through them rotating them all the time. I also use towels and cloth instead of paper towels, which are really expensive. I do keep a roll on hand for the really gross stuff, but use cloth most of the time. I also add beans to my hamburger meat when cooking, tacos, or used seasoned turkey meat instead of the chubs to stretch it further. Yes, couple different tips in here. Definitely label your canned goods so that it makes rotation easier, and adding a filler like beans or lentils to meat. Meat is so expensive. If we can cut that a little bit in how much we're using in a recipe and add something else in its place, your family is most likely not going to notice. If on a septic system, I save old Ziplocs for grease and fat from cooking. Putting that down your sink is a big no-no. Makes disposal of that very easy. Yes, we are also on a septic system, so we do have to be very careful of what goes down the drain. And because that is an expensive issue if you mess up your septic system. The frosting buckets from my bakery make good storage. I'm the retired manager, but the girls still save them for me. That's awesome. I love that they still save you your buckets. Here's another one talking about saving garlic, celery, onion, spinach, bones, and scraps in a freezer bag. Here's another one. A lot of people do that. I dehydrate the pulp from the juicer and use the powder in smoothies. That's an excellent idea. Use your fresh herbs in the summer, but as the season comes to an end, cut them back, dry them. Then you have spices to use until the next growing season. Yes, I absolutely love dehydrating my own herbs and spices. And no matter where you live, if you live in an apartment, if you live in a condo, if you live in the suburbs, if you live in the country, you can grow your own herbs and spices. All you need are pots on a windowsill or pots on your deck, and you can grow oregano and chives and rosemary and parsley, so many different things. Someone else mentioned frosting buckets from the bakery. I get all of my 5-gallon food grade buckets from restaurants. The sushi place behind my shop has 5-gallon soy sauce buckets. I've never paid for a single one. There are so many places that you can get buckets for free or relatively low cost. You can ask at bakeries, Costco, Walmart, go out anywhere that uses frosting, pickle buckets, restaurants, places like that. Cut sponges in half. They're perfect size to get in cups, and now you get 2 for the price of 1. That is an excellent budget saving tip and a way to make something stretch even longer. If it can be reused, I'll clean it and reuse it. To fill my canner if needed, I'll fill jars for use as sterilized water. I wash and reuse Ziploc bags. If they've just had frozen veggies in them, meat or fish is different. I started couponing. Typically, I budget my money for case lot sales my area does twice a year, and I tend to buy bulk of my household items. Then I supplement buying a little extra on my monthly grocery shopping. So a couple different tips in this one, couponing. I did couponing pretty consistently, maybe about 10 years ago, 13 years ago, somewhere in there. And when I first jumped in, I was like, I'm not really gonna find anything that my family uses, which is something I hear a lot of people say about couponing. But I was surprised, like with some digging in, I was really able to build up quite a stock of different things that my family does use. So don't cut that out if you are thinking, oh, well, nothing I ever buy has a coupon. That's not true. I would say that a lot of things have coupons that we just may not even know are out there. I'm sure people know this, but I buy clothes out of season. So for my son, I buy his winter clothes in summer for the next winter. That is a great way to save on the clothing budget. Clothes can be really expensive, especially for kids because they grow so fast. And one of the things that sometimes people are surprised when I say this is your hand-me-down bucket is a prep. Like you are prepping for the next season. So yes, definitely do hand-me-downs, buy clothes out of season for the next year, have multiple sizes of things. Shop the sales. I ran into Super One. This person must be local to me. Super One is a local grocery chain. The other day for just a few things, but they were having a case sale. So I picked up cases of canned stewed tomatoes, green beans, chili, pears, and peach. Prices were from $6 to $12 a case. I regularly stray from my list if I see a sale I wasn't aware of and grab what I can at a discount. I like to buy the basic stuff I can use in my homemade recipes later, but a few cans of ready-to-eat stuff like chili are nice to have around as well for busy days or when I'm not feeling well. If your grocery store has case sales, like mark a reminder on your calendar so that you don't forget. And if you're not sure if they do, call and ask them. So a couple of our different local grocery stores, once or twice a year, they have case sales on specific items. And it's like tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, chili, canned vegetables of different kinds. And it's limited to the stock on hand. Once it's gone, it's gone. So in our area, you do kind of have to get there and make sure you don't miss it, or you're not going to get everything that they had at the beginning. Tip number 90. Buy in sales, not necessarily clearance, but just in advertisements. Buy one, get one free. That's one for your first layer and one for the second layer. Search Pinterest for what to buy when. Certain things are on sale in certain months and stock up when at the best prices. Yes, there are seasonal sales on pretty specific things. And each month I put out what is called the Pantry, and it is available to This Prepared Life members all the time, but it is also available just for a short limited time each month. And I do list in there the seasonal items for that month. And in addition, there's also information on how to properly store those. Fall and winter are good times to get deals on fruit-bearing plants. Yes, we already talked about that. I think it might have been in part 1 that we talked about that. But in our area, fruit trees are pretty expensive. I don't know how much they run where you are. Comment below if you know how much fruit trees are in your area. In our area, potted fruit trees, not bare root fruit trees, are anywhere from $100 to $150 each. But at the end of the season, our nursery, those go on sale for half off. So we are able to get more then, and then they are dormant, so it's easier to plant them at the end of the season. I really like my butter. Me too. Who doesn't like butter? Also, I love to bake, so I use a lot of it. So when it's on sale, I buy a bunch and put it in the freezer to pull out as needed. Also, cream cheese has a long shelf life as well as ham steaks. I like to buy lots of those on sale and they last a long time. Also, freeze bread on sale and pull out as needed. Utilizing your freezers for your food storage is just really such a great way to buy some of these items on sale and pull them out when you need them later. Here's another one saying, shop clearance and make meals ahead of time for busy days. Cook once, eat twice. I shop sale ads and stock up on the things I use. Always rotate. Before Thanksgiving, there are usually great sales on canned vegetables of all sorts. I buy my cranberry items and pumpkin puree for the entire year. Also a good time to buy potato flakes, stuffing mixes, breadcrumbs, or what I call flavor enhancers, which are olives, roasted red peppers, artichokes in water or oil, or marinated vegetables. Check your grocery stores for clearance fruit and vegetables. I pick through and can pickle or dehydrate what I can. I freeze fruit for smoothies. Not long-term storage, but the kids sure appreciate it. Using clearance items from your grocery store is a great way to stock your pantry. I always try and check the clearance shelves when I'm over there. And a lot of times, there's nothing I'm really in need of or something I use. But sometimes I find some really great stuff over there. Also the dollar store, check the dollar store, because they will oftentimes have really great long-term storage foods. Buy meat when it's on sale. Sometimes it will say manager's special. It's just meat that is getting ready to expire and you need to freeze it soon after buying it. I think sometimes people are a little hesitant to buy meat when it has the clearance stickers on it because, we're like, oh my gosh, is it bad? Am I going to, get sick? It's not bad. It is almost about to expire. So it just means you need to process that as soon as you get it home. It's not going to be able to sit in your fridge for a couple days, but it's a great way to save on the cost of meat. I shop sales for things we use, eat, and will buy multiples of that item to stock up. For example, if cheese is on sale, 5 off for $10, I will buy 3 to 4, then I don't need to purchase the next month. We eat enough that it won't go bad. We have shredded and frozen before in smaller portions. Cheese freezes pretty well depending on the type of cheese. Some cheeses get a little crumbly in the freezer, so you just kind of have to be mindful of which cheeses your family is okay with eating frozen. But I freeze mozzarella, we freeze cheddar, we freeze pepper jack, we freeze Havarti and Swiss. We freeze all the cheese. We like cheese. Let's see, use the store app. Don't stick to just one store. See all the store ads near you. Don't forget the ethnic stores. They can have some great sales. Make a grocery budget and stick to it. Absolutely. Shop around. I know it is a pain in the behind to go to multiple different stores, especially if you have young children, but it is really going to save in your budget if you are sticking to your list, sticking to your budget, and you are combing through those sale flyers every week or every month whenever you grocery shop. When your grocer is having a great sale on meats, run, don't walk. I've gotten boneless, skinless breasts for $1.99, which is a steal. And don't buy for the sake of it. Those, if you spend X amount, you get free shipping is no bargain if you don't use it. If you don't need an item and it's on sale and you are just buying it because you think it's a good deal, you really aren't saving any money in your budget. If it's an item you actually use, yes. But if it's just an item that you're like, oh, this is such a great sale, I need to get this item, you're really not. We try to buy only on sale in season. When we find a good sale on shelf-stable items, we stock up. This is probably by far my favorite tip out of all of them. This is tip number 105. Skills are like money in the bank. Could be anything handmade, saving money by doing things for yourself, and could also make additional money. Skills. Preparedness is about skills. You can improve your food storage by learning skills. You don't have to do everything, but you can do something. So what skill are you going to learn next?